Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we're going to talk about those drones that keep on hovering over New Jersey and scaring a lot of folks. It's not going away. The FBI is involved. They're trying to figure it out. Some of them we're seen hovering over Donald Trump's golf course over there in Jersey, and we're not anywhere near to solving this mystery yet. However, they do seem to be man-made. That's what it seems like. Some of these objects I've seen in some of the videos that have been put out. I mean, some of them look like airplanes. Some of them look like helicopters. Some of them do look like drones. Some of them are very loud and they make a lot of noise, a lot of racket. Some of them actually, when they're hovering over cars, the clocks inside the cars don't work for some reason. We'll talk about that later on. So there's a lot of things going on here, and I guess the question is, what is happening with that? I mean, I know that there's other incursions all over the world right now, and people are seeing stuff all over the place. I think we're in the middle of some sort of a wave, but in New Jersey, it seems like there's something else going on here. It seems like these are most likely man-made objects. That's what they seem to be. Maybe not, but that's what they seem to be to me. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to start with here's an article from NBCNewYork.com. FAA imposes flight restrictions as New Jersey drone mystery extends to Staten Island. And it says here that a letter was sent to the FBI requesting flight restrictions over Staten Island. Their complaints join others in New Jersey where people are still questioning where the devices are coming from. You know, what's funny about all of this, right, is that, the FBI is involved. The military seems to be, laissez-faire about this. You don't really see them, upset or concerned about it. If they were drones or some sort of devices from Russia or China, you think we'd be in DEFCON 2 right now. But obviously that's not the case, because it doesn't seem like there's any sort of issues. The military doesn't seem like they're too concerned about it, unless that's just a front. We really don't know. But anyway, let's read this article a little bit. And there's a couple other articles, too, I want to get into. It says here, the mysterious nighttime drone flights plaguing New Jersey residents for weeks has now reportedly reached over into one of New York City's boroughs. Sightings of the buzzing drones over Jersey communities have been reported for weeks, prompting the attention of not only local law enforcement, but also the FBI. This week, Staten Island became a target of the eyes in the sky. Congresswoman Nicole Malatakis, a Republican representing the borough, said she requested an immediate briefing from the FBI and Homeland Security to determine what is being done. The Federal Aviation Administration, meanwhile, has imposed drone flight restrictions in the area while authorities investigate the reports. Drones have been spotted flying overhead at night in 8 New Jersey counties so far, dating back to the week before Thanksgiving. On Thursday, New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy posted on social media he had met with Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, members of the Federal Department of Homeland Security, State Police, and members of the Garden State's congressional delegation to discuss reported drone activity over parts of North and Central Jersey. We are actively monitoring the situation and in close coordination with our federal and law enforcement partners on this matter, the second-term Democrat wrote, while noting there is no threat to the public. How do you know? How do you know there's no threat to the public? I don't know that. I don't know how you can know. If you don't know who's operating, again, this is what I was talking about the other day. If you don't know who's operating them, you don't know where they're coming from and what's going on here, how do you know? How do you know that they're UASs, unmanned aircraft systems? How do you know it's not? How do you know that's what it is? How do you know? How do you know there's not people in some of these things? Anyway, continuing, it says here, New Jersey residents Phil Doyle and his wife Maureen went outside to their back patio on Tuesday night when they heard loud buzzing coming from overhead. Doyle said they saw dozens of flying objects, believed to be drones, coming from the direction of Picatinny Arsenal and heading northwest. One goes over and then another. It's not 2 or 3 a night, it's 30 or 50 a night. They have lights on them so you can see them, he said. Doyle estimates that dozens of drones flying over his home in Oak Ridge were about the size of his dining room table. Why are they suddenly here? What's the basis for these drones suddenly appearing? They've been around for a while and now we are getting all this activity. So who's behind it, he asks. That's what everyone wants to know. We don't know who's behind it. The FBI is investigating it. Drones have also been spotted flying over reservoirs, rail stations, and container terminals, all in crowded airspace with 3 major commercial airports. And here was a comment from aviation expert J.P. Tristani. Let's say a drone loses control and it goes above 500 feet. It could be catastrophic on an airplane midair. It could easily take out an engine. It could smash into the cockpit. Is it a hazard? Yes. Should it be addressed? Yes. Are you waiting for a catastrophic event? You should not be doing that. It's a matter of public safety and it has to be stopped now. And here was an article from the AP. This was from December. This is from a few days ago, December 4th. It says the FBI is investigating reports about several mysterious nighttime drone flights that have recently occurred across central Jersey and has asked the public for help. Witnesses have spotted a cluster of what appears to be drones larger than those typically used by hobbyists, as well as a possible fixed-wing aircraft flying in several areas along the Raritan River since November 18th. It's not clear why the flights happened or who was flying the devices, but federal and state officials stressed that there is currently no known threat to public safety. There's no known threat to public safety. No known threat. Okay, now moving on. Here's an article from Newsweek from December 6th. Mysterious New Jersey drones change time on clocks, Eyewitness claims. Let's read a little bit of this one. It says a swarm of mysterious drone sightings near President-elect Donald Trump's New Jersey Bedminster Golf Club continue to baffle local residents, with some now reporting strange changes to their clocks. As reported by Fox News, one family in Morris County who followed a drone in their car said that as the drone hovered above them, their car's clock changed time and only returned to normal as they drove off. Other eyewitnesses described the drones as being as big as small cars and incredibly loud, likening the cluster of drones to a parade. The drones just keep coming, one after another, one eyewitness told Fox News. Let's skip forward here a little bit. You know, my theory on the clocks in the cars is that it's EMP, electromagnetic pulse. Might be, even though I from what I've read, they're not in military drones. There is no EMP supposedly in those drones, but apparently in these drones that are flying around now, that's what that could do. Electromagnetic pulse could cause issues to electronics. So maybe that's what's causing that's what caused the clock in the car to fail, and then it worked later on, which is weird. Okay, then we're going to go over here to Twitter, and here was Twitter X, Matthew Pines, and he writes, frankly, he's talking about what the possible explanations could be, and he says all the explanations, they're problematic. Adversaries making a mockery of our air defense, well, of course that would be problematic. Of course that would be DEFCON 2. Right? I mean, I would imagine that our military would be going insane right now, but they don't seem to be. So I don't think it's that. United States government causing a civilian freakout by irresponsibly testing advanced tech over civilian population. That's one of them. I think that's probably what it is. I think that's what it is. That's what it's going to turn out to be. Unless it's some like insane hobbyist group or something. I don't know. I don't think so. But I think the United States government is testing this stuff over in Jersey. And maybe this is a way to take the attention away from all the other things that are going on across the world, in the UK, all over, from the United Kingdom all the way to Los Angeles. There's all kinds of stuff going on. People are seeing orbs, silent craft floating around, other orbs floating around, military installations, all kinds of stuff going on. They call them or UAS as they're calling them, but they're all over the place right now. I think that this is our own military doing this. It doesn't make me right. Maybe it'll turn out I'm wrong, but it could. I think that's where this is leaning toward, and who knows what the reason is. It could be because they're trying to like scare our enemies out there and give Russia and China something to think about. Look at what they got over there. They're testing it out on their own people, scaring the hell out of them. Obviously they don't. They're sending us a message by doing that. Is that what it is? Could be. Or I guess it could be non-human origin craft, like Matthew Pine says here, non-human origin craft deciding they don't need to be as stealthy anymore. Could be, but how come they look like drones? They do look like drones. They make sound like drones. They look some of the stuff that some of the images that I've seen. One of the things that somebody filmed was a big helicopter. It looked like something else was most certainly a plane. And and some of them are drones, obviously, but maybe unless the aliens themselves are making their craft look this way and sound like this, like to trick us. I don't know. I don't think that's the case either, because again, I think the military would be acting differently right now. That's why they did come up with that classified strategy, right? But they can't tell you about it because it's classified to try to do something about these incursions. So they're not telling us anything, and they seem pretty calm, cool, and collected about it. So that's why I think it's probably our own military. They're doing some testing, and they don't care about the civilians right now. That's just collateral damage at this point. That's what that doesn't make me right. But that's just what I'm saying. Maybe it is aliens. I don't know. I just can't see it being China or Russia, because then like I've said, we were looking at DEFCON 2 then, to have these kind of incursions going on for half a month now, over half, since the middle of November, basically November 18th, right? That's when it seems like it's all started, right? And it's still going on. And so if it was China or Russia, the things would be extremely serious right now. So I just can't imagine. And then here was a post from Think Tank on X. He says this was an anonymous Facebook post. The New Jersey FBI says when the Black Hawks get close to the drones, they go dark and disappear, undetectable by current United States technology. And then here's what it says here. He has a little thing on here. It says, by now you're all probably aware of the increase in reported drone activity in our area. Today I attended a meeting at the Essex OEM EOC. Here's the update we received through the FBI and the NJSP, the New Jersey SP. Multiple reports of organized drone activity in Morris, Somerset, and Essex County. These events started approximately 2 weeks ago. The drones are varying in size from a little over 1 foot to 10 feet wide. Initial intelligence is showing that these are military-grade drones that are undetectable by current United States technology. Black Hawks and other United States aircraft have been launched to try and intercept these drones. However, when they get into the area, the drones go dark and disappear. Well, let me just say, if they're testing secret craft, then they're not going to tell the other people in the military about it either, and they're going to send out to see how our military responds. The ones who don't know, to see how they respond to them, to see if we could, if the drones could evade getting intercepted. That could be a possibility. Anyway, continuing, it says these drones have been reported to be traveling over 100 miles per hour and are capable of payload/weapon systems. The battery systems are like nothing we have seen before. And then it talks about what to do if an incident involving drones occurs in our town. Shift supervisors should notify the command staff in an email and group text message. We are awaiting a QR code reporting form from blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then moving on to another tweet here. This was from Marek von Rennenkamp, a former Department of Defense official. We talk about him a lot on this show. He does writes a lot of good commentaries on this subject. He writes this translation local. He has a bunch of different a bunch of information that he's talking about with regard to this comment is directed toward. He says his translation of it is local law enforcement, the FBI, Air Force, the United States government are clueless about astoundingly brazen incursions. This is not surveillance. Some actor, Russian, Chinese, NHI, etc., is, quote, sending a message, end quote. We can act with impunity. Such activity has occurred for over 80 years. See, I agree with him here, and I disagree with him because I don't think that things in Jersey are alien or China or Russia or Iran or anybody else out there. I think it's ours because I just think that now this is some of the stuff. This is his translation of some of the information that he was presenting here, and this one of the things was from the Florham Park Police Department. It says, residents, you may have observed or become aware of the various reported drone sightings in the airspace above Morris County in recent weeks. Morris County law enforcement, in conjunction with our state and federal partners, have been attempting to determine the launch point and landing location of these drones, as well as the people people or entities responsible for their presence in our airspace. Several drone sightings have been reported above critical infrastructure such as water reservoirs, electric transmission lines, rail stations, police departments, and military installations. Members of the local law enforcement community have been pressuring our partners for answers regarding this activity, as their presence around our critical infrastructure is concerning. While we currently have no evidence or information to indicate these drones pose an imminent threat at this time, their presence appears nefarious in nature. We are asking that all residents be vigilant and report any drone sightings directly to the FBI at the phone number or email tip lines listed before, blah, blah, blah. And then another piece of information that Marek has here. This was United Air Forces in Europe. Now he's getting into other things here too. He's getting into some of the incursions over different places, in different parts of the world. That's what he's thought. That's what this is. So Marek's talking about all of it. I'm trying to focus here today though on the New Jersey drones, which I think is something phony's going on. My phony meter's going off. It's similar to that Chinese balloon phony meter that was going off last year. Anyway, it says here, to date, installation, this is the United States Air Force in Europe, Air Forces Africa. It says here, to date, installation leaders have determined that none of the incursions impacted base residence facilities or assets. The Air Force is taking all appropriate measures to safeguard the aforementioned installations and their residents. The number of systems has fluctuated and they have ranged in sizes and configurations. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway. And then also here was another quote from the FBI Newark field office in New Jersey. This is what Amy Thorson said. We understand the concern and we are doing all we can to figure out what's going on. We truly don't have much information to provide at the moment. I mean, this is amazing, again, with regard to the drone incursions over New Jersey. Again, I know that there's other incursions going on all over the world, but I want to focus on these ones in New Jersey because it seems like it's easy to identify. I mean, they are drones. That's what they look like. They're drones. They act like drones. Some of them look like other kinds of aircraft, like helicopters or planes. But I have a feeling that there is something nefarious going on, but I think it's probably by us. We're doing it to ourselves for whatever reason. Who knows? Maybe to get everyone's attention away from all the UFOs that are appearing everywhere across the world right now. And this way, you send up a bunch of drones. Don't tell anybody about it. Make a big hoopla about it. Everyone, all the establishment media and everything. They're reporting on this. They're showing images of this on TV, right? They're not really talking about a lot of the other things that are going on with UAP across the world right now, but they are talking about these drones hovering over Jersey because that's what they are, and I think it could be some sort of a trick to take us off the scent or something like that. I don't know, but I don't buy anything. I think that we're going to find out in the end, or maybe we're not going to find out in the end. Maybe we'll never find anything out because again the strategy is classified, but. I think it's us. I think it's our own government doing this. I think that they're doing testing and basically the citizenry of New Jersey and now in parts of New York are the guinea pigs. They're just the collateral damage here. We need to test this stuff out and see if they could be intercepted by our own jets and everything. And apparently that's not working right now. And maybe this is they're trying to, it could be sending a message to these other countries by doing this, or it could be a diversion just to get people's mind off the alien story. So they don't want people to think about that anymore. And this might be a way to do it. I could be proven wrong, and this is just the way I think right now. I mean, I don't know. We just don't know. All we could do is speculate on this, right? That's all we can do. But that's just my feeling on it. I think we're doing some secret testing, and the residents of New Jersey are the guinea pigs. Sorry, Jersey. Anyway, moving on, I want to follow up with that little short that I put out very early this morning about the Las Vegas alien stuff. Now, I received a lot of comments, and I want to talk about some of those comments. And this was, I'm going to start with Spotify. This was a comment from Chad, And he writes, recently on an episode of Vetted, host Patrick, the guy who hosts Vetted, Patrick, made a comment about not being deceived by images and stories like the Vegas alien incident. He claims that Roswell is the most compelling account of all time. I asked him why, when the Las Vegas alien incident has imagery and multiple witnesses. He claims he doesn't know what to believe in that case. I understand that he doesn't buy into it, but maybe you could reach out to him and educate him better on the subject. Yeah, well, Roswell is a great case. I mean, I love the Roswell case. I mean, I read so many books on Roswell, watched so many documentaries on it. Roswell is and as far as I'm concerned, Roswell is just like Ariel School. There were just so many witnesses there. Something crashed, and it was aliens. That's what it was. That's it. Period. But of course, we don't have the imagery or the evidence like we have with the Las Vegas alien incident. But apparently, Patrick from Vetted, he said he's not going to be deceived by these images and stories. People need this. I don't know. I'll get into it in a little bit here. Anyway, I responded. I said, Patrick needs to research this better. Some people, however, are just obtuse, even within the UFO community. He'll realize someday that he dropped the ball on this one. Yeah, he will. Everybody will. Anybody who's not accepting this, they'll realize someday, and maybe they'll just continue to deny it. Maybe they'll act like flat earthers. I don't know, but it's definitely real, and there's no question about it. And it's proven. It proves it. There's no doubt about it. Here's the thing. A lot of there's a lot to this story, right? There's just so much to it. And that's the problem I think a lot of people have. They're not paying attention to everything. Like what Patrick should do is like what I did with when I think it was earlier this year. I wasn't really following the Peru alien story, the Peru mummies, but somebody I know, Jack Connor from Cosmic Road. He's somebody that has been really keeping close tabs on that, and he knows a lot about that. So I actually invited him on my show to explain it, and it was great. He came on. It was nice to have him on, and he knows a lot more about that story than I do. And that's what Patrick needs to start doing. He needs to start bringing people on his show that know about this Vegas alien case, people who could lay it out for him. People like me, people like Scott Roeder, whoever. There are people out there who understand this story a lot better than he does. Obviously, you think about Jeremy Corbell earlier this year. He called that the Peru aliens as well as the Vegas alien case. He thought it was harmful to the discussion, right? Harmful to the disclosure efforts or whatever, something to that effect. Obviously, he didn't do his homework. I mean, that's the only. There's no other answer here. Obviously, he didn't do his homework, or he just doesn't. He doesn't want that to be the one that gets us over the hump. I don't know. I have no idea what people are thinking in their heads. I just don't know. But if anyone were to sit down and go through all of this stuff. And there's a lot of stuff. See, the thing is, a lot of people. I would say 90% of the people that comment on this. Around 90% on Spotify and on YouTube, they have accepted this evidence. They think that this proves it. A lot of people. There's a lot of different people that are regular people that have been following my channel for a while now. At least since this started, and they were there for all of the shows where I talked about this. I don't know how many shows I did. I don't know. Was it 30, 40, 50 since April on this story? I mean, I talked about it last year when it first happened, but I didn't talk about it as much as I did starting this past April. It was actually late March when it all started, when Scott Roeder made that his analysis, determined that there was most certainly creatures there. He's the expert, right? He scientifically proved it. There's something there. The video wasn't faked. And there was a lot of people that have been following my channel ever since that story broke, and they understand. They know that there's no denying this. There's just no denying it at this point. So, but there's some new people that come on the channel sometimes, and I don't know. And there's also some people who just have trouble seeing the aliens for some reason. But I think anybody that who was to sit down and absorb the totality of all of this evidence, they would most certainly walk away knowing that we're not alone, and that this Vegas case finally takes us over that hump. I've been talking about this since earlier this year, since April 2nd on this channel. Let's see here. Adrian Hernandez, Adrian wants Scott Roeder to come on the show. He was wondering when Scott Roeder is going to come back on the show because he wants to hear more about the Miami Mall case. Now, there's not a lot of, compared to the Vegas case, the Miami case just doesn't have that video evidence. I mean, it just doesn't have it. And it doesn't have there are some witnesses there that are compelling. There's a lot of confusion with the Miami Mall story. But the Vegas alien story, we're going to, at some point when Scott does come on, he's going to come on at some point in the future. And when he does, I will definitely discuss this case with him. But I have talked about it with him before. And there's just, like he even stated, that there's just not that video evidence like there is. There's just so many different aspects to the Vegas case, right? There's just so many things that it makes it undeniable once you realize, right? And I think a lot of people like Patrick from Vetted, Jeremy Corbell, they haven't done their homework on this. Even George Knapp. George Knapp was involved in that story early on. He did some reporting on it, and he hasn't talked about it at all. If they were to sit down, right, and absorb the totality of the evidence, they would realize, right, that this ends it. The debate is over. The debate is over. The people who've been following my channel, right, religiously since at least April, they know. A lot of them do. At least, I would say most of the comments I receive, 90% of them on both of these platforms are always favorable to they believe in this. They accept it. For the most, I every now and then there's some people who can't see it. There was one person I remember on YouTube who said initially he didn't see the creature that chased him out of the yard. He couldn't see the creature that showed up over the fence, but he did see UB, the undeniable backbreaker, the little gray alien that showed up that I discovered later on, that we were focusing on later on. That was what got him over the line. But there's a lot more than that. There's at least 20 different things floating around in that video. At least 20 different faces, at least, that pop up in different parts of the video. And then, like, here's a comment from somebody who's not accepting it fully. Thomas Merrill says, "It's interesting, still not conclusive, but you're getting there, bro. Keep it up." Well, thanks, Thomas, but we are there. It's conclusive. It's conclusive. I know. If you were to go through all of the evidence that we have been pushing out here over the last how many months, I don't know. Again, I don't know how many episodes they did. 30, 40, 50? I have no idea. But there's a lot. And Fred Bone is one of the people on Spotify. He's someone who follows me regularly. And he's also contributes to my channel, which I appreciate very much. He says here, his response, because he's been following me for a long time, his response is, "The gift that keeps on giving. Amazing." Fred accepts it. He understands that this proves it once and for all. There's no doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Anyway, now I'm going to shoot over to some of the comments on YouTube. There was a comment here from Alan GI4LT. He says, "I have been looking at videos and pictures of this event for a long time, and I just can't seem to see anything. All the ones by the fence, none of them. I can't see what people are seeing in the Miami Mall videos either." Well, don't feel alone with the Miami Mall stuff, because I don't see anything there either. Not much. It's not the Vegas. Miami Mall is not the Vegas alien case. Not by any. Not even close. Not at this point, anyway. If there's different video evidence that surfaces at some point, a different sort of evidence, maybe. But at this point, not even close. Not even close. But anyway, I responded to Alan saying, "I'm going to have to put together an ultimate analysis video to help people like you. I'm going to have to break every alien image down and outline them frame by frame to make it as clear as possible." Yes, unfortunately, that's probably what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to do something very drastic. I've tried similar things before. I've put out numerous videos. I know people who have been following me for a long time know this. I've done multiple analysis videos on this, multiple different kinds of presentations, multiple different videos focusing on new finds. There's so many different videos. I can't even count. I don't even know how many I have. There's so many at this point. I don't even know. I lost count. But there's so much evidence that appears throughout that video, as a lot of people who have been following my channel know. That makes it impossible. It makes it impossible to not be real. It's just impossible. And anyway, there was another comment here I want to talk about. Let's see here. Here it is. This is from Johnny Nyberger. This was pretty good stuff. And now he's skeptical. And this is what he says. He says, I truly don't understand how you could make such claims given the heavy compression artifacts here. We'd need uncompressed video to know what we're looking at. Low light plus high JPEG compression is not very useful for analysis. Just look at the size of those compression blocks. Those remove information, which, as we all know, that's what compression does. I'm trying to be open-minded about this, but I've yet to see any video evidence that doesn't appear to me to be a combination of compression artifacts and pareidolia. The one exception is the thing that appears above the fence that comes in from the side. That part is the most intriguing to me. Well, then there you go. I think you should be there then, right, John? Right, John? I mean, shouldn't you be there at this point? I mean, if that wasn't that, I don't understand the undeniable backbreaker or that creature standing by the heavy equipment. That doesn't do it for you. I get it. I'm gonna have to do something more, obviously, like I stated to Alan. But anyway, I responded to him. I wrote this. I wrote back, the compression artifacts aren't enough to conceal the numerous instances in which alien faces materialize throughout the video. Object falls from sky and it's seen by people from 4 states and captured on numerous video recording devices. Check. Police are called shortly thereafter by terrified family claiming object landed in their yard and aliens came out of it. Check. Police and district attorney believe the family was authentic, and charges for making a phony 911 call are never pursued. Check. The cell phone footage is examined by a team of experts who validate it as authentic and that no special effects were added. Check. The footage shows on numerous occasions beings that meet the descriptions provided by the witnesses. Check. The totality of the evidence proves that there were non-human entities in the yard. Since Roeder presented his findings last April, no other expert has been able to scientifically refute it. Mick West turned down a $5,000 offer from Roeder to provide an analysis. This is the best case we have in the public domain. It proves we are definitely not alone. There is no good excuse to deny it. It cannot be debunked. It's impossible. And speaking of Mick West, right now, he's very, very busy on X, debunking all of the UFO sightings over Jersey, pointing out that they're drones or aircraft of some sort, helicopters or airplanes. He's having a heyday. He's and he's doing it for free. He's doing it for nothing. This is the easy stuff. This is the stuff Mick West loves. Look at that. It's easily. He's loving it. He's loving life right now because he's able to tell everyone, oh, look at the plane, look at the helicopter. That's all it is. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here. But he won't touch the Vegas alien stuff. You know why? Because he can't. Not even for $5,000. He can't touch it. You know why? Because he'll never be able to debunk it. Look, I'm actually so worked up, I'm actually running out of oxygen. Anyway, to my response, Per Anderson says, word. But Johnny responded back to me, and let's see what he says. He says, I understand the totality of the evidence. That wasn't my point. I was only referring to this video clip. There's just is not enough detail left in this video clip to know what that is we're seeing. Well, I think it's pretty clear what we're seeing. We're seeing a freaking alien that looks just like the one that one of the ones that abducted those guys back in at the Allagash wilderness in Maine back in 1976. But anyway, I digress. I say that not as a video expert, but as a network engineer who worked for years with video engineers supporting their video acquisition, compression, and delivery systems. I am not an expert, but I've picked up some knowledge along the way. I'm trying to be honest about what I see in the video. The totality of the evidence is persuasive, but the video by itself is not, at least for me. I wish we somehow had higher quality video available, but MPEG compression struggles with low light. Too many details are forever lost to the compression mechanism. And of course, I had my response. There are certainly some, this is what I say back. I say there are certainly some details that got lost to the low lighting, but there are so many instances where alien faces appear during this short 1 minute and 41 second long video, it has to be at least 20 times, that it would be statistically impossible to reach any other conclusion. I've actually tried experiments filming outside at night in places where the lighting was low, and my video turned out the same as this one here, except not once did anything materialize that looked like an alien. That's because there were no aliens when I did my my experiments, but there were aliens present in the Kenmore family backyard last year. I've done numerous videos on this incident since April and presented numerous other examples of apparent alien faces appearing and disappearing throughout. The two subjects of this latest presentation represent only a small portion of the creatures that materialize and dematerialize throughout the video. Compression artifacts and shadows can't conspire to form alien faces 20 plus times in a 1 minute and 41 second long video. A video that just happened to be filmed by a family just before they contacted 911 to report 8 to 10 foot tall alien creatures in their backyard. Not once do any of the faces that appear look like any known animals or humans. Pareidolia is mostly ruled out because there are just too many instances where there's more than enough detail, compression artifacts and all, to confidently conclude that some weird creatures were really in certain spots at certain times within the footage. And that is so true. There are just too many instances throughout. If it was just one thing, if it was just if it was just this thing here, right? If it was just this thing here, or this thing there, right? Or that thing here, or what about this thing here? But if it was just one, right? Maybe there'd be an argument here, but there is no argument. There's no argument. There cannot be an argument. There were too many things there, way too many things. The closer you look at that video, you realize there's creatures running around all over the place back there. There's no question about it. It cannot be pareidolia. There's just too many instances of it. And none of the pareidolia looks like nothing other than aliens. That's all it looks like if it was pareidolia. It's impossible. Probability and statistics will tell you that there's no possible chance for all of these alien faces to appear here if they weren't there, especially after the family said that they were there and they called the cops to that effect. And we see them in the video, compression artifacts and all. It doesn't matter. There is no denying. There is absolutely no denying the evidence there. Look at of course, the face above the fence. A lot of people, that's their favorite one, the face above the fence, the transparent face above the fence. But you can see it. It's there. There's a face. There's no doubt about it. You can see something moving toward them that chases them out of the yard. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt. There's absolutely no doubt whatsoever that there's a little gray kind of creature there in the background. There's no doubt about it. Look at the video. There's no way it could have been faked. Scott Roeder determined that there was no trickery done, no CGI, nothing like that. The video was authentic. He validated it. There's no way. There's multiple creatures hanging around by the cab of the cab of that loader. There's multiple creatures around. There's creatures in other spots that pop up. You see faces popping up all over the place. When you take your camera out at night in a similar low lighting setting, right? If you took the same kind of cell phone camera that Contra Kenmore was using, for instance, whatever you use, right? And if you do the same thing, guess what? You're not going to find that kind of stuff there, unless there's really aliens there. But you're not going to find it. I didn't find anything when I did it. How could all of these things be popping up? Think about it. This is common sense at this point. It's critical thinking skills are not being used here for some reason. I don't understand. What else do people need here? Obviously, I'm going to have to put something bigger together than what I've done to this point, because some people still are not getting it. They're not convinced, some people. I'd say a lot of the people that have been following me for a long time, 90% of them, they know. But other people, no. And then there's other people who are having trouble seeing them. I need to do something bigger than I've done to this point. Obviously, I need to work on this. I need to put something together that's just the ultimate show for this. Something. I don't know what exactly yet, but I'm going to do something. But there's absolutely no way. For one thing, you look at the whole thing. First, when this incident happened, there was Doug Papa, the local Las Vegas investigator, podcaster, was investigating it. He got wind of it. He was in contact with the family, interviewed them a few times, talked to Angel a few times, did interviews with him, and the stuff that was coming out was incredible. There was a KLAS, George Knapp's channel out there in Vegas. They got involved. They did a story on it. They did a broadcast about it. Then the story started becoming bigger and bigger. Initially when I looked at the video, I didn't see anything either. I mean, you don't even know what you're looking for. You all, in our heads, they're saying that there were aliens in the backyard. Well, where are they? right? But then you closer look at the video over time. I remember Scott Roeder in June of 2023. That's when I first was in contact with him. He heard me talking about this a couple of times on the show, and he contacted me. He said he wanted to look at the video and he see if there's anything he could find. And if there's anything he could find, he'll come on the show and we'll talk about it, or we'll talk about it regardless if he finds nothing. And he found something. He looked at that video and he looked at those people as they walked into the backyard, and he saw that there was something moving toward them, and that scared them out. They all jumped at the same time. That's something you cannot fake, as Scott Roeder pointed out last year. That's something you could not fake. You can't fake that. They ran out of the yard then. But you see something very fleetingly, but there was something there. It did not look like a person. It looked like something else. I don't know what it was, right? But that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough to convince people. And then, of course, earlier this year, in March, Julia June, a New York resident, she contacted me, and because I did an update on it, I guess in March at some point. There was somebody else had done a YouTuber named Sherman had done something about it, and he had interviewed the two brothers, Joshua and Angel, and they were talking about the case, and so I did a show about that. And then Julia June contacted me and said there's a face that appears above the fence, so I did a show about that. Scott Roeder saw that and he got all excited because him and his team, he has experts working for him. Scott Roeder has over 30 years experience. I mean, this guy's he's been on TV shows. He travels all over the world. In fact, just recently in this past month, he was on one of the biggest shows in Japan talking about this case, talking about the Vegas alien case. People around the world are starting to notice, and so Scott Roeder, he got involved, and he looked at it, and him and his team determined that there was something that definitely appears above the fence there, and somehow 66% of the pixels were deleted in that area where the face shows up, and it was using some sort of a cloaking technology, and there was no explanation for it. He said that he had no explanation for it, and he's somebody who's been looking into this for over 30 years. Doing video analysis for 30 years. And then over time, we kept on looking at the video. People were talking about the creatures by the cab. I started looking at that. Then I noticed, one day I'm looking, that's something there. There's something back there. There's this little head that pops up early on, and then it shows up for a few minutes, and then it disappears. And I kept looking at it. I zoomed in on it, stabilized it, realized that's an alien. That looks like a little gray alien. So I start talking about that. And then there's other things that appear. There's two big giant heads at one point right toward the end of the video that you could see like in the cab area. And then there's some other creature looks like a lizard kind of reptilian type of creature that just appears. I mean, all of this stuff. How could it's impossible for something like this to happen unless something really was there. If the video wasn't faked and it wasn't hoaxed, right? Well, then that means it's real. And you could see them. There's just too many different occasions where these things show up. Now, some of the initial objections when this story first came out, people were saying, oh, it must be a hoax, must be a hoax, must be a hoax, right? And then because of small little things that would happen, like when Angel Kenmore had told KLAS or somebody, Doug Papa, early on that there was a mark in the yard. There was a circle in the dirt in the yard where this thing landed, and then somebody did a Google Earth, and they found out that circle was there before the incident happened. So, see, he was lying. It's all a hoax. He made it up. And then we find out that no, that's not what happened. What happened was there were circles in their yard from moving that equipment around. But what happened after the incident happened, when the incident occurred, the night it occurred, and the police showed up, they went in the backyard, or it could have been that night or a different day. A subsequent visit by the cops a couple days later, or a week later, whenever it was. But one of the cops pointed to the yard, to the mark in the yard, said that's where it landed. And Angel said, yeah, that's where it landed. And the cop pointed out to him that there's a circle there. And so Angel, in his mind, just that must be the mark it left. So then, but because that mark was already there, people just assume, he must be hoaxing, they must be lying, they making it up. And then there was, I think it was George Knapp, somebody in Vegas had reported that there was a video that Angel had put forward saying that it was from one of the neighbors saying that they caught on a security camera, a loud flash and a banging sound. And so an angel put it out there thinking that it was something that happened that night, and that helps corroborate their story. But then it was learned later on that happened at a different night. So that was another reason people were saying it was a hoax. But obviously what happened here, somebody pointed this video out to Angel Kenmore or the Kenmores themselves and said, see, look at this helps prove your case. And so he just ran with it and not knowing it was from a different night. But so those things, none of that stuff matters. I mean, it's impossible that this thing was a hoax for so many different reasons. For one thing, right? The night that this happened, people in 4 states saw that object coming down from the sky. Everyone thought it was a meteor. The American Meteor Society had like a dozen different people reporting, at least I think it was about a dozen or so, more or less, that reported seeing this thing from all different states, from California, Utah, Arizona, and Nevada. And so multiple people from different states saw that object coming down. They actually filed their reports with the American Meteor Society, that night or the next day after they saw it, before this Vegas alien story ever became a thing. Nobody even heard about it nationally until late May or somewhere around there. Because it happened the night of April 30th, right before midnight. And then around midnight, that's when they had their alien encounter after the thing came down and landed. But there was one woman in Arizona who reported to the American Meteor Society that she saw this object come down, and then she saw 2 UFOs hovering in that area for like an hour. And she sent that report in that night, apparently, or early or after midnight, early May 1st. She said as she was writing it in real time, it looked like, if you read the report. I've talked about all these things before. So there was, and not only that, but you have the cop, the one police officer that caught it on his body cam. You have other people catching it on their surveillance cameras, in their car cameras. Multiple different aspects seeing this object coming down from different sources, right? So where it came down, some people have determined that it would have came down in their backyard, in the Kenmore family's backyard, right? So that would mean, if it's a hoax, all of these people would have to be involved in it. All the people that sent in the reports of the meteor, the police would have to be involved in it. All the people in Vegas that gave in their cell phone footage or their surveillance footage of the thing coming down from the sky. The neighbors reported to news outlets that their security cameras went off at the time when that object came down, including the surveillance cameras that were out in the yard of the Kenmore's property. They went down too. There was all these different things that happened. All of these different things. It's impossible to be a hoax. So if it's a hoax, then what kind of hoax would it be? Are you telling me that the family determined if a meteor ever lands in our yard, let's call up the cops and say aliens were in our yard? It's absurd. The more you think about this, the more you realize that this really happened. It really happened. You see the fear, and you see it when you watch those videos. You see the fear in their faces, the fear in their voices, with the surprise. These are real people that were very upset about this. They couldn't believe it. They were in shock, right? And so there's so many different elements to this thing. And then you have the video itself. Right? You have the faces appearing all over the place. You have the people, the father and 2 sons, both, all of them. 3 people, 3 witnesses saying that they saw these creatures, face to face. That these people were not making it up. It was impossible to be a hoax. Well, the hoax stuff went away over time, right? And then, if you remember earlier this year, when Scott Roeder went on News Nation, then it was Ben Hansen. You remember him saying stuff? I believe that the family, they were rattled about this thing coming down from the sky. I think they were just all worked up. But it's such a leap to think that aliens were really there, even though there's a witness sitting right there and telling you that he's a video analysis expert with 30 years experience. He made that determination that video was real, it was authentic, and that there were things in the yard. He told Ben Hansen this, but Ben Hansen didn't accept it without any evidence no proof to back up what he's saying. And then we still have people like this. I sent a letter to the Pentagon in June about this, a detailed letter explaining it with a bunch of different links of videos that they could check out for themselves. You know what? I never heard back from them. And it goes on. And there's other people that are looking into this too. I mean, there's Chris Lathrop put a big giant pile of information together covering the whole, the beginning to the end of this. Scott Roeder put his own report together on this, and he included Chris Lathrop's his documentation in with his report. There's a lot of stuff out there. If people would just take the time to educate themselves on this, like if Patrick from Vetted is serious about this, then he should start seriously investigating this then. If all of these people, what are they doing? That's what I don't understand. I don't understand it. I know that some people, I'll tell you what, I know that there are some people in the UFO community out there who are paying attention to this, and they've probably accepted it. I think that there has to be. I can't imagine everyone is this obtuse in the UFO community. I can't believe that. I know that there are some people who are most certainly are. Ben Hansen, for instance, obtuse, right? I don't get it, but everybody can't be this way. I mean, if somebody else would have came out with this, I would have been so interested, and I would have been looking at it myself then. I can't believe that what is happening with this story. And there's a lot of people out there, let me tell you, there's a lot of people out there who are upset about that the UFO community, a lot more people in the community aren't talking about this more. But you know what? It's fine. When this story first came out, when Scott Roeder made his presentation earlier this year, I thought that's what was going to happen. I thought a lot of people were going to be, finally, we got it, it's over. But that didn't happen. That did not happen for whatever reason, right? They don't want, I guess the powers that be don't want it to come out this way. But you know what? I'm pushing it out this way anyway. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care what anybody says. Right, this is how it needs to come out. It needs to come out like this. The people need to push it out. This is the real deal. This trumps everything. This trumps everything out there, right? All of these drone incursions, all of this stuff is all mysteries and stuff like that. There's no mystery here with the Vegas alien. There were non-human entities in that backyard, and we have the evidence that proves it. This is over. The whole world should know about this. I don't think there's going to be any sort of big ontological shock like a lot of people say either. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in it. Some people will crack up a little bit. A lot of the debunkers will cry in their bed pillows for like 3 months straight probably. But I don't care about that. That's the truth. We need to wake up to the reality that we're living in. There's something here. Anyway, there's going to be more on this as time goes on. I can tell you that, folks. There is going to be more on this. This is not over yet. It's not over yet. It's time for the people to start waking up. You know, one of the things I plan on doing, I'm going to put a nice little letter together to some of these House committees, and find out what happens with them. See what they have to say about this. Put all the information together. The ultimate package, the ultimate Vegas alien package, and we'll really put an end to this. And let's see, come on, where's the debunkers at? Mick West, he has no problem going around talking, debunking airplanes flying over New Jersey and drones, right? He's no problem looking at that stuff, but he won't touch the Vegas alien stuff, and I told you why he won't, because he knows it's real. And these other people that are ignoring this, I don't know what's wrong with them. I really don't know what's wrong with them. I really don't. Think about Jeremy McCorvell, for instance, right? He's put out some really good documentaries. His show weaponizes, and very entertaining and educational. I think he does a really good job, with this subject. And some of his documentaries, like Patient 17, that was really good about the alien abduction implants, and Dr. Roger Lear was in it. And then you had he did the show with Bob Lazar. Now in those cases, right? You had Bob Lazar where there's no pictures, there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing to go along with it. No evidence whatsoever, right? And yet people are supposed to believe that's not harmful to the discussion, but absolute proof, which I called, by the way, I did that little short video, which I tried to put a lot of that information in that little absolute proof commercial that I put together. But that's okay. That's, but the Bob Lazar story, that's not harmful to the discussion, right? But you don't have anything. All you have is Bob Lazar's word. Now, I just want to make this clear. I'm one of the people who believe Bob Lazar. I think Bob Lazar told the truth. I think he did work at the S4. Right, and I think he did work on the sports model like he talked about. However, there is no pictures of him working on the sports model. Right, there really isn't. So I don't get it. Here in that case, there's absolutely no evidence other than Bob Lazar's word. And on the other side, You have multiple witnesses, you have video evidence, you have police records, you have police reports, you have American Media Society reports. You got all of this stuff, right? But that's harmful. That's harmful. I'll tell you what, folks, this is not over yet. This is not over yet, but not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. There's more to come on this. Believe me. Believe me. Anyway, I want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.